Hey there, hey there, with your sexy self. You looking cute, anyways. I don't care. I don't care that it's morning and you ain't got all your stuff together. And you, I hope that you have brushed your teeth. But even if you haven't brushed your teeth, you still sexy to somebody. You still sexy. You should be sexy to yourself too. That is my hope on this day, honey. But I didn't bring my doggone notebook in here. Why I didn't bring my notebook in here? I thought I was supposed to bring my notebook in here. It might just be meant for me to do it without my notebook. So what I want to say to y'all today, anyway, before I say this to y'all, I got to start saying this at the front because it's a lot of views. It ain't a lot of likes. So like this thing. If you don't like the content, like that I'm putting in the time for the content. Like that I'm listening to spirit for the guidance for the content. um, like that. Listen, I've been through some things for this message, and I haven't hardened. I still can't be stopped to get this message, to live this beautiful life for this message. Like it, subscribe, share, all the good things, and tell me something. Tell me something in the comments. Something. Hey, girl. Hey, you the dopest. You get on my nerves. Get out my life. Something. Tell me. And tell me some things in the comments. Helpful, nice things, I hope. But either way, if you got something to get off your chest, also fine. Anyway, I was in my zone this morning, and spirit was sometimes I know that many of you will be able to attest to this from a understanding standpoint, and then others will be able to understand it. It'll be resonant to you, but it may stand out at this point because you haven't really known exactly what was happening during the time. So anyway, you know how they say that like early in the morning, three to five, it's like people's best study times. It's the way point of the block of time where people get a lot of stuff done. Just all these different things that happen at those hours. But you know why that is? Everything is still. Everything is quiet. It is your most open place in the day. There isn't a whole lot going on external to you because there isn't a whole lot going on internal to you. Neither place has gotten extremely active as of yet. So you are more accessible during that time for creative endeavors. Anyway, so that's where I was at this morning. I often I get up and I've created a routine around that time frame in the morning just because I know that I'm open because I know these things that I just told you. So I do a lot of stuff and get a lot of stuff done, and it's so much easier. I'm so much more productive in those hours before everyone is up moving around and before I'm able to be really distracted by anything. So one of the things that I do in my morning routine is writing my journals. I have many journals. We discussed that a little bit on one of the other videos, but yeah, I keep a journal for a lot. I have a standard journal that has everything in it, all of my thoughts, ideas, hopes, dreams, all the things. Ooh, excuse me. Um, Maybe a confirmation burp. I haven't even had nothing to be burping about. I ain't gave myself nothing to burp about except for a message. Anyway, so if you need to make a journal, do that. I have a gratitude journal. I have a trading journal. Journals for days. Journals for days, okay? Weeks, months, and years. But I was writing this morning and it's also Mercury retrograde. I told you guys before, Mercury is a messenger planner. You tend to get a lot of downloads during the Mercury retrograde. We got another 6 days. It's April the 1st. 2025. Yeah, we got another 6 days of my, well, actually, not 6 days because it'll be post shadow effects as well. But April 7th, if I recall it correctly. Anyways, yeah. So this might seem kind of heavier to some people, like a heavier message, but it's really not heavy. The more we begin to understand about transformations, death, rebirth, and growth, then we begin to help ourselves, and death or transition doesn't sting so much. It still can be difficult at the start, and it's not to say that you just stop experiencing grief altogether. It lightens the load for sure, though. But I was something, ooh, I had started writing about the incident that I made the video about yesterday that happened in my massage session, and how I didn't really recognize the blockage that was in my heart chakra up to that point, and how it's been possible for me to live in this space for so long without ever realizing we're all doing it. Just different blockages, and that was the significance of the message before that about clearing up your energy. All things work together for your good. Every message that's coming about, they're all flowing together. That is the flow of life, it's the flow of transition, it's the flow of expansion. So spirit was giving me the correlation and the breakdown of how all those things flow into place. And what I didn't realize was how dope stuff be. Like, it's stuff just is really dope. Just how spirit plays it out, which is, well, sometimes when I be getting these downloads, I be like, girl, why do you ever spend your time worried about stuff? Like, why do you be wasting time like that? Because this thing played out dope all the while. It ain't always feel dope. We be trying to avoid the pain. That's what it be. So we try to control it. Pain is just a part of it. Anywho, so yeah, all of that took me back to the transition of my brother. I may pause this so I can go get my book. Okay, I'm back. So, what Spirit was trying to get me to see is that we have been strategically placed, as well as others who are a part of our soul tribe and an aid to the work that we do while we're here on this earth. We've made a contract with with all of the people, some contracts more, I want to say more serious than others, but not to take away from the power of those connections. But many of those are for a greater purpose than some of the others. So the main thing is that you were put here to change the world. You were put here to call, and by change, expansion. You were put here for the greatest of purposes, and that starts with your bloodline. You were put here to change the whole trajectory of your lineage. The masseur has been placed in my path as a soulmate to help me to get to that place. How, you ask? It is necessary for my energy and my heart space for me to be cleared up to be able to express love more freely and receive love more freely. So he was set in my path to release those blockages in my heart chakra. So that's one aspect of it. And to take it a little bit further, because we were talking about transition, Spirit brought to mind and gave me a whole rundown on my brother. We made a soul contract before we got to this earth, before we chose to come in the physical form. In spirit, we have a pact, I guess you can call it. We have a soul contract. And we've determined that when we would come here and discover our purpose together. Now, because we have that agreement, I am faced with the reality of that agreement. A part of that agreement was that he would assist me. He would do his part to change the world. He would add to my ability to change the world. Not only as my brother, but as my soul mate. The soulmate comes from the soul contract that we have in spirit before entering this flesh. We both knew ahead of time the journey that we would take. When you finally make it here at the point of conception, forgetfulness takes you away, and conditioning pulls you away from all those memories. You don't have those memories anymore. So, in the gap, you're rediscovering why you're here. And further, you chose the family line that you're in. No matter how that may look, feel, or be for you, whatever that experience has been, all you have a contract with that whole line of people. They are the way they are on purpose to get you where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Whether you keep in contact with them or not. Now, just for context, I told you guys in one of the first videos that I did that, that one was also about grief, that he and I, we had this crazy kind of connection. Couldn't really be articulated in a way that really just makes a whole lot of sense, but we were just connected. I hadn't talked to my brother in a long time. We didn't keep in contact like that. For you, you have connections just the same way. You have connections with people that you don't even understand why y'all so close. You just know that's your dog and you rock with them. I just love them. I can't tell you all the reasons why. I am just so deeply enmeshed with them. This love component is just all up and through me for this person. That's that soul contract. That's that tie to the soul. That is the anchor among the two of you. So, a part of that contract is him transitioning. First, us living a rough life together in the same family. We can start there. Growing to live two separate and seemingly different lives. And him transitioning heinously. All his work here was done. He did all that was in his contract to do for all of the soul contracts that he had with all of the people that he came in contact with. He was done. So when it was his time, he decided, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go and stay gone from this form and return in another. So that's what happened. And then for me, I have to go through the grief process because up until that point, I didn't know anything about grief. I hadn't had an intimate relationship with grief. I haven't met myself in that place. I hadn't connected so deeply to the place that grief causes you to connect to. But it was the start of a revolt. It was the start of an exceptional life, the hard way, as we would perceive it, the long way. But in the midst of it all, just know all things work together for your good. Hard as it may be to see that from the start. And sometimes it take a long ass time on the back end. But it's real life out here. So all of the components Spirit began to give me on how that whole thing looked. So I would be confronted with more parts of me on account of him. I'm gonna try not to get emotional with y'all. I can feel it already. While he was here, I had a great connection to him already, but it wasn't the kind of connection that would be the most beneficial until after he'd gone. It wouldn't be activated until he'd gone. Y'all, listen. I would get glimpses and flashes of what some pieces of his transition story years, for years prior to it happening. I never knew that it was an intuitive component. Never knew. It would scare me, it would make me emotional. It was preparation, it was foresight, it was the gift from the universe, from source, from spirit. I didn't know. It scared the hell out of me every time. And let that train be a confirmation. It was fast moving, it was consistent, it was blowing the horn. It was speaking to me, evidently, but I was not yet connected. And it would fade and it would go away until the next time. He everything, when I tell you that everything is here as a navigational tool on your journey, I mean that. I mean that. The solar system, the planets, the planetary alignments, your birth chart, how the planets align in your specific life, all of that. So Spirit was showing me just, he came along as a key placement to stoke the fire within me. He was fire in all of the ways. He really was. Super dope dude. I'm not just saying that because he's my brother, but super dope dude. He was fire. He's a Sag. Sagittarius. Fire consumes all it comes in contact with. Mm. You can't have close association and contact with fire and not be affected. So he came to help me make this transformation and to pass the torch, in a sense, to me to continue the work. Listen, even my brother was probably the proudest person I've ever seen of our last name. Of all my, I have not met another person in my entire family that is as proud of this last name as him. He always was that way. Listen, he was the only boy of my mother's kids, and he absolutely cherished this last name. Had no idea why until today when I was writing about it. He knew the call. He understood the assignment. He knew that he was here to change the lineage. I'll take it a bit further. So, my brother has a lot of kids. A lot of kids, okay? When we were younger, my brother's just below me. I'm the oldest. He would always say that he had two goals in mind for this life. And he didn't say this life. He just these are the two things that he always said from childhood to an adult. He understood the assignment. He said, one, he always wanted to make it so that he can take care of his sisters and his mama. That's one. But the other thing is, he wanted to keep his name alive. And on the surface, it sounds like, but when you come to change the world, when you come to change your whole lineage, make an impact that great, sometimes it sounds mediocre. It sounds like a small feat. The expression of it doesn't present as big as it actually is of a deal. We would always just see it as proud. And guess what? At this point, one of his kids, my nephews, and this is the only one that I know of, that baby is proud of his last name. Guess what last name that is? Mine, the one his daddy had. Same type of pride. In fact, you see that nephew, you you wouldn't even know that Tony was gone. Because that baby is his daddy for sure. Now, all of his kids 100% resemble him, and many of them act 100% like him. But some of the greater details that I can attest to, that one, he the one. If we was trying to figure out, well, Tony has appeared in so many different ways, but if you felt like we soul swapping, that's the one. Just like him. Anyway, um, so for me, all that I do to change this lineage, first, you don't change the world until you change your family line. You don't change your family line until you change yourself. That's why this channel always takes you back. And for a long time, for as long as I can remember, Spirit had already told me that all roads lead back to you. All roads lead back to self. Because, as we've already established, your external world is your inner world pushed out. It is a projection, it is a show of, in live fashion, what's going on inside of you, because that's what you're creating. So, that said, it all starts with you. You cannot make change in this world. Your reality does not change in this world until your internal changes in this world. So that's where we are right now. We're changing the insides to change the outsides. Okay? So, naturally, because that's how it goes, and he was here to assist me, also, I have fire placements in my chart. prevalent fire placements. I think I even have 3 Sag placements. But my sun is is a water bearer. It's air, which speaks to lightness and flow. And the representation of the sign is a human figure, which is the same for Sag. Like it's not the same human figure, but um, the Aquarian is known as the humanitarian of the world. Imagine that. An air sign, often mislabeled as a water sign, but we just bear water. We carry water. We carry emotion. We carry life. We give wisdom. We are the helpers, the world changers. I can't make it up. And because of that, cups, water, all of that is a representation of love. All of that comes from the heart chakra. You cannot bear love and change the world by way of love if your heart chakra is not clear. If you don't understand where I'm coming from, go watch that last video. I'll say that. Um, anyway, I think that I'm going to shorten this a little bit unless spirit gives me something else. I just wanted to make that correlation for you guys just from a personal purview so that you know how to assess and a different, like a reframe for transition. It wasn't so one of the things that I heard most loudly whenever my brother transitioned through all the pain and through all the tears, and when I was able to get to a reasonably sober-minded place, is first, and this is the thing that helps you the most, and it seems the least impactful. It actually seems like it makes shit worse, to be honest. My therapist told me to sit with the grief. And I'm like, sit with the grief, my nigga. I've been sitting with the grief. That's why I'm in so much pain. Because not only am I sitting with the grief is sitting with me. The grief is sitting on me. What do you mean, sit with the grief? Feel it. It sounded like the worst fucking advice ever because what do you think I'm doing? All I can do is feel it. I need the opposite of that, Miss Ma'am. But when I tell y'all that's the thing that got me to the other side, that is the precursor to this place. It teaches you how to feel from a space that you've never known feeling before. Sucks to hear, sucks to experience it from this place, but helpful because remember, everything here is here to help you. It's your mirror, it's your teacher. The more and more I sat with it, the more I understood feelings and emotions and how they come about and was able to watch them unfold and identify them in so many ways. But all of that taught me how to feel spirit. That's what sitting with that is doing. That's what not even sitting with it, but actually allowing yourself to feel it does. It puts you in it puts you in a place of connection. It leaves you open for that connection. So I was down bad for a year and a half on them emotions, sitting, listening, feeling the emotions. I was being fine tuned to spirit. Did not have a clue. Did not have a clue. I just knew I hurt, and I hurt bad. That's what I knew. But every time I just felt it, I let myself feel it. It didn't take long. I felt a little bit better on the other side. A little bit better. The awakening was happening. The energetic transfer was happening and had taken place. I didn't, it was a torch pass. Your turn. Oh, torch. Okay, Spirit, I got you. He passed the fire. It was time for me to be activated. It was time for me to put the world on my back. Not in the way that we customarily carry the burdens of the world, but in the way that you kind of do carry the burdens of the world, but not in the way that you learn from the world to carry that weight. Rose chakra. Yeah, clear that out of there. You learn to carry it from within, from a healthy space. So I've been opening myself up more and more to all of the gifts that Spirit has for me to be able to carry these things out. And it only stands to reason that it would be time for my soulmate, that is my masseur, to unlock me further and release the stagnation in the clogging in my heart chakra, to release all that pent up energy that had been affected by years and years of trauma, years and years of pain that you're not always fully aware of, because I didn't know that it was blocked up outside of just Spirit giving me the awareness to seek out that kind of healing treatment and giving me the word to clear up the energy. So now we got a free flow of energy through that space, and we can move, we can do, we can be. Because now I'm no longer looking at things a certain way. I'm open. I am, and it's a desire that I had before. I'm not letting life harden me. You don't let life harden you, no matter who you are. You're not here for that. All of those things are distractions to some degree. Many of them are to help you, but you can be distracted by the same thing that is here to help you. Don't be distracted. Focus on it. Ask Spirit questions. What is it that I need to know from this? What is there to learn? And do your best to open yourself up to be able to learn the thing that needs to be learned from that. That is what causes that thing to not be so painful, whatever that thing may be. And since we're on the topic of grief, that alleviates some of the strain of grief. I will not tell you that it still won't be hard. It was. There were some other things that I needed to understand along the way. And to be quite frank with you, it took for my brother to be speaking to me in spirit one day while I was in the shower. Also, the shower is a portal, which sounds like a funny thing to say, but I get a lot of messages. Many of you get a lot of messages in the shower, and that's why. You feel like you get answers to a lot of your questions while you're in the shower, or you think of, and you have epiphanies, and just all these different things in the shower. That's why it's an open portal. And I would encourage you to treat it as such. It'll feel strange at first. And remember, anything done intentionally is a ritual. And since you are the master creator, you are the alchemist, alchemizing energy and creating your reality. Make it a meaningful ritual. Cleanse. Okay, Spirit. It's a cleansing ritual. You think of the things that you want to get rid of, and you bathe with the intention to wash them off, and they go into the portal, down the drain, and you're wide open to receive the thing that is most beneficial and most helpful to replace that. While I was in the shower, my brother began to talk to me and in such a characteristic way, which goes back to another thing that I mentioned early on in the video. He said, I don't even, I missed him. I don't think I was broken up about it, or maybe I was. Maybe it was a harder day, and I don't really recall for sure. I do know that there were so many times where he would appear to me, his energy, he would come to encourage me on the days of the heaviest grief in such characteristic ways. So this day in the shower, he said to me, I couldn't take care of you. I couldn't take care of y'all the way that I wanted to while still there. I had to move to a more elevated space to be able to take care of y'all. I couldn't stay there and take care of y'all the way that I wanted to. I heard that thing so loud and so clear in my soul. I have not been the same since. I have not experienced grief the same way since. Now, every now and then, he sneak up on me and I cry. I'll feel it some. It's not from a place of sadness because you haven't lost nothing. He's still here. You just associate and recognize him in a different way. The feeling, the intensity that you feel that pushes you to be emotional, that is the presence of that person saying, hey, I'm here. Hey, recognize me. It comes out in the form of tears and pain because we've not been taught to recognize that as that. But that changed the whole grief setup for me. And the more I learn, the more spirit gives me about transition, the more I appreciate it. And it's the same with everyday life and the things that we phase out from, we move on from. There's always a death. Death is death is always accompanied by birth, rebirth, new beginnings. Death is a close to a cycle. Birth or rebirth is the beginning of a new cycle. It's the light and the shadow. It's the yin and the yang. They exist together. One ends and one begins. You can't have a new beginning without an ending. So you experience a measure of grief when it's time to close out all kinds of different cycles in your life. We haven't gotten great directive on any of it, and certainly not the larger, more painful one that is death or an absence of life, transition of one form to another. So anyway, All that to say, I hope this is helpful. I hope that you get a better understanding of some things. I hope that my personal story can assist you in your growth here, give you some insight, and cause you to be open to the messages that Spirit is trying to get through to you through you. You don't need me to tell you, but I am in contract with you to tell you. So, if you need a sign, a confirmation of what Spirit has already been moving you to in your spirit, this is it, boo. Gonna be great. I love you to life. I do. You got this. You're gonna keep on getting it. You're gonna be better on the other side of things. Feel that thing for the time until it's time to transition on to a better understanding. But think about that person's life and how they lived. My brother was the life of every party, honey. True Sagittarius energy, true fire. Uh, he did whatever he wanted to, and he was damn good at it. He didn't give a fuck what nobody thought. He taught me how to live. So Spirit has been telling me all this time, look at him. Look at how he lived. You endeavored to not give a fuck, too many fucks about too many things unnecessarily. Live an abundantly pleasant life for yourself. Because ultimately that's for God. That's the God that's in you that created the desires. That's the thing that's gonna change the world. Not caring about what other people think about how Spirit has moved you to live. Functioning and operating in your own gifts and abilities in the way the Spirit gives you to do that. You don't always recognize what Spirit is doing as what Spirit is doing. Sometimes it just comes on as a heavy feeling of, I ain't doing that, I'm doing this. For me, especially, I've been a perpetual nonconformist, perpetual line stepper. And I ain't talking about the dances, because I can't do them kind. That ain't the kind of line step. I'm not really good at that kind yet. Yeah, it's another word I'm looking for. Spirit, give it to me. It's just synonymous to the things that I've already said anyway, though. Anything that's major, like if you like it a lot, I don't like it. And it goes a little deeper than that. It's not for every case or situation, but all my life I've been that way because I wasn't supposed to be like everybody else. I wasn't supposed to do the stuff that everybody else was doing. If I would have conformed, I wouldn't be here channeling messages for y'all because people think that's crazy. Because people aren't tapped in that way, or maybe this is just not their gift. They're gifted at something else. So they think this is crazy. They don't know how it helps the collective. They don't know how it's in purpose and on purpose. I'm not just here to make stuff up. I ain't got that kind of time, energy either. Anyway, I thought I was ending that a little while ago, about 10-ish minutes ago, I think. But yeah, I think, yeah, the more you're able to love yourself, there we go. We're coming back to that. Loving yourself begins to consume and encapsulate everything on the outside. That's why these messages are centered around you being selfish. It's selfish differently than the world would consider it. But that is why this channel always points you back to you, because that's where the work starts. That's where the change starts. You want more love in this world? Let's let's work on the love inside. First, starting with the love that you have for yourself. We don't recognize it. We don't really do that well at the start. Nobody taught you because they didn't know. But Spirit just gave me the ability, and is teaching me more and more how to do that. So why? So that I can teach you. All of our gifts work together. Anyway, bye bye. Go on and get. No, I love you. I do. And I hope this is encouragement to you on your grief journey. Or even better, if you can get it ahead of time before you lose someone and it tugs on you in a way um, that causes you to kind of spin out. It's unnecessary, but the more we have these talks, the more we're able to get you into a place where you're better able to handle transition. Again, like, share, comment, subscribe if you please. Love and light.